Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Prospects eRacing League Tier 1 PlayStation League Round 4 here at Canada. Slight change of plan tonight, guys. I'm Zippo Streams, co-hosted with Chappers this evening, and we're going to be bringing you the commentary around Canada here this evening. So hopefully it's going to be as good as it is normally for you guys, and we'll do our very, very best. But we are here with Chappers. So good evening, Chappers. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. It's very good to be here once again for Tier 1 commentary, and I'm looking forward to this Round 4 Canada race we've got in store for you today.
Absolutely, yeah. Not going to lie, guys, I'm a little bit nervous. Never done Tier 1 before, so we're going to do our best, as we said, and let's just hope that it's okay for you guys, as I want to make sure that we've definitely got... Yes, we do. Thank God for that. We have a picture for you. Quasar, how you doing, man? I've got to remember not to talk to chat. That's going to be really hard. Really hard. Right.
The guys are just loading into the lobby now, waiting on just a few people to load in, and then we can get the qualifying session underway.
Absolutely, yes we can. So, qualifying here around Canada. You've got to look out for that Wall of Champions. Very, very tricky section, especially if it's raining in Canada. And hopefully it's not raining. No, it's not. So we're not raining here in Canada. That is good to see. I'm not sure if it's going to be a wet race or what's happening there. But the Wall of Champions, one of the hardest chicanes in the race calendar, along with Ascari, Monaco, is it the swimming pool section?
I believe so, yeah.
It is,
there is one there that you can easily hit the wall and it will just spin the car around, so it's quite challenging, especially there, but Monaco's challenging in general.
It is, but yeah, the Wall of Champions obviously famous for collecting quite a few of the champions over the past few seasons. Hopefully it's not going to collect too many people here this evening, as we've got a car coming out of the track already. And yes, qualifying well and truly underway here in Canada for Tier 1 here in Prospects eRacing League.
Who is it that's first out, actually?
It's an Alpha Tauri.
That will be CPI Forzan is the first car out on track today at Canada.
The nice thing as well is I know some of these drivers, some of the drivers here in Tier 1 I actually know from elsewhere, so I know their kind of their pace and who they are and how they race. So it's good to know a brief background in regards to some of the drivers as well, so it's good to know. And obviously I've spoken to quite a few of these people. It's nice to finally see some Tier 1 action, not yet to see a Tier 1 race, so it's going to be good to actually have the first-hand experience here.
Guys in Tier 1, as you regular viewers know, are exceptionally fast on this game and normally produce extremely good racing, which is lovely to see.
Yeah, absolutely it is, and I think we're going to have some very exciting wheel-to-wheel racing. I've literally just come from Canada and some of the racing over there, and just how you can race wheel-to-wheel around Canada when you've got guys that have got so much trust in each other. It can produce as Mitwee is that 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Hemi. So already someone picking up a 5-place grid penalty here, and we're going to be starting obviously 5 places further back than they qualify in.
Yeah, and Forzan has just actually started his flying lap and the first car to do so as well. And he's just coming through the first sector of the track now is Forzan, so let's see what he can produce if he can keep this lap valid, as the track limits here are very, very interesting. It's so easy to exceed in multiple places here at Canada, so it's going to be interesting to see what Forzan can do.
Yeah, that's interesting that you've said that. I mean, it's probably on the race calendar one of the hardest tracks for track limits. Very, very easy to pick up time penalties in, as you've just said, multiple places, especially through the chicanes. Through the Wall of Champions can absolutely destroy your current and next lap as well. Very, very, very unforgiving part of the track in more ways than one. But Forzan is coming down towards that Wall of Champions, and he takes a very, very nice, smooth and fast line through there. He comes down to the line, crosses the line to set a time of 1:10.489, and that is your time to beat.
Pretty solid anchor lap, I'd say, there for Forzan. Who is the next driver? I believe
looks like a Red Bull.
It is of FRT Cameron. He's just crossing the line now, and he goes to a 109.8.
6/10 quicker. Oh wow. Oh my. Next up, we've got a Haas of Lassie Larson going into third place. Midwee down into fifth now after Alex goes into third with a 10.5, and then Optic with a rather ambitious banker lap there with a 132.4, and then we've got Total Carney into fourth place with a 111.1.
Some of the guys putting in some exceptional laps, especially FRT Cameron Bottom. Certain we're going to see those times drop and have multiple drivers into the 109s today.
Absolutely, and as I mentioned earlier about the Wall of Champions, the chicane there, Smatrare and Whale, is that? Is it Whale? Whale?
I'm unsure how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with what you say.
Yeah, Whale, both actually invalidating this and the next lap, and so did Hemi on the previous lap. So that's what I was saying before, where you go through and you just take that line just wrong and you invalidate it. But we are on board with Hemi, and he absolutely nailed that chicane out of the park there, but he only goes 8 fast. I mean, that was an incredible line for the champions.
It was, and Hemi's been doing an exceptional job this season as well, actually.
Has he?
He's been getting some pretty good championship results and points, and I believe he's near the top actually at the moment as well for the championship. But they're doing an exceptional job this season.
Very, very good, and nice to hear, guys. So, little run through. We've had a few more drivers setting some time. Drunk Pirate there down in P8 with 11.6. Equator a 124.9. Optic after that ambitious 133 up into third place now at 110.5. FRT Cameron still the first driver there into the 109s, and let's see who, if anyone else, can actually join him now. We've got a lot of drivers invalidated. Farsa, well, both got 2 lap old soft tyres now, still not putting the time on the board.
And the Quasars just bumped into P6 with a 111.327 as well aboard that Alpine.
King David on a lap at the moment in 15th place in the Mercedes here, going through sector 1, but he's already invalidated his lap, so we're not going to ride on board too often there with him. Bingram actually going through, coming out of the chicane, the hairpin at the final hairpin, down the DRS straight towards the Wall of Champions chicane, and he is in the Aston Martin. 8th gear, DRS wide open, almost empty, but here we go, coming down into that chicane right now. How does he take that? He invalidates this and the next lap, and that's another driver going to be going for another lap. Troye, someone that I know rather well actually, Troye, going through sector 1, a very, very fast driver, current purple in sector 1 there.
And Troy's been on pole a few times as well, to my knowledge, in tier 1. And so far this looks like a pretty solid lap time he's producing for his first lap on the board, if he can keep it invalid. If he can keep it valid. But as we said, it's very easy to invalidate, and I think a lot of drivers have already shown in this qualifying session that are absolutely right about that, especially with the Wall of Champions section of this track. It's exceptionally easy to do so.
And here comes CPI Troye through the Wall of Champions chicane, and that looked absolutely spot on through there. Looked a little bit wiggly on the exit, but he only goes 5th fastest, and that is a 10.538. And still only Cameron into the 109s, and we have 10.5 minutes left of qualifying here. Bingram down to the line, but he's already invalidated again. King David going for it. He's coming through sector 2, almost towards the start of sector 3, towards the hairpin. He has got a little bit of traffic up ahead of him, so hopefully they will get out of his way. He's got what's he got? He's got 3 cars actually, one of them being his teammate and Alpha Tauri, doing a very good job of getting out of the way there. And I think the other Alpha Tauri and his teammate are a little bit too far up to cause him any troubles unless they have an incident through the chicane.
Let's see who is on a flying lap right now. I believe Tintoretto is just actually starting a flying lap. Oh wow.
And King David 11.5, he was very, very tentative through that chicane, but whilst we were on board there, Forzan a 109.858, jumping Cameron, the second driver into the 109s, and he's there by 400ths, ahead of the Red Bull driver.
He is an exceptional lap there from Forzan, and I'm just on board with Tim Toretto, second P80. Currently not set a lap, but he's on a flying lap right now as we speak. Just coming through sector 2. Seems like he's done a pretty good job so far, now braking hard into this hairpin before we onto the back straight with the DRS section, before we head sweep into that Wall of Champions section of the track.
Yes, and here he comes then, going down underneath those Pirelli signs into the braking zone at the chicane. How does he approach that chicane? Well, he attacked that chicane very, very hard, and he comes down to the line. Where does he put his car? 8th fastest, 11.2. There's quite a pace advantage, quite a big gap between first and second down to the top 10. It's some of the drivers are going to want to try and get themselves into those 109s to even try and put some pressure onto Forza and Cameron here.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that the times are so far apart. We normally see the times be quite close, actually, within the top 10, for example, or be separated maybe by 3/10 or close to the second, but it's a lot more than that here at Canada. I'm interested to see that slightly different outcome at the moment, but we've still got 8 minutes of this qualifying session left, so there's also a lot of time for these drivers who either set a valid lap or improve the valid times that they've currently got.
Correct, yeah. Now we're on board with Basil, I think it was Basil, in the McLaren here. He's had a pretty decent first sector. Now, one thing I will say is regarding the timings that we've just discussed just then, it is very much that Wall of Champions chicane that we have said so much about this evening already. That is a make or break for your lap. If you don't attack that well enough, you can lose so much time. At the same time, though, if you attack it too hard, you can also validate, lose time, or even worse than that, crash into the wall.
Exactly, and as we say, we've seen multiple drivers, even in a real life situation, crash into that wall, hence the name of the Wall of Champions. But as Zippo said, you could be on an absolutely stunning lap and chuck it into that last chicane by the Wall of Champions and then invalidate an amazing lap. It's all about who's probably got the biggest guts just to chuck it into there at the end of the lap, but to make or break a lap.
In previous games, not previous leagues, you've been able to attack that as, oh my god, Cameron regains that original pole position and goes 2/10 quicker than Forzan with a 109.6. Now these guys are really putting on a show for us this evening. Previous games you could almost attack that chicane almost at a straight line, but this game I can see that there's a lot more wheel input and you're fighting the car through the chicane a lot more than you have done in previous games.
Certainly with the new regulation changes this year, that's also going to implement a different way of going into that, getting just a different way of driving in general. But just one thing to point out, PC Alex is gotten quite close to this top 2 there, and he's in a 1 minute 10 flat.
Yeah,
so just outside of that 109 bracket, so good lap there from PC Alex and the Williams. Yeah, very good lap there for PC Alex and the Williams.
Oh, we were on board with Forzan there because he was going for another fly, but he's just invalidated coming out just before the end of sector 1, and I actually watched his line through the chicane just then, and he really attacks that chicane, and there's not even like a bit of a bounce there. We're going to stay on board. I don't know if you want to ride on board with him for a second to see what I mean, but he really punishes that car when it goes through the chicane. There's full send initiated here.
He does, and I think he did invalidate the lap, didn't he? You said at the chicane, so he's more than likely going to come into the pits actually if he did so, because if this next set will be invalidated also. But I don't know, he's actually going for another lap, so I guess we can stay on board with Forzan to see what he can produce on this lap. It's valid. Forzan coming through turn 1, swooping into turn 2, this very tight and twisty sector 1 of this circuit in Montreal. Here very easy corner to invalidate, but he gets that nicely. Seems like a very good sector 1 so far for Forzan. I mean, he was just under the town by 0.6 of a second and 0.7. So doing a good job there for Forzan. See if he can produce through this sector 2 of the DRS section. Right here, the Rocky scoops underneath the bridge. His right-hander over to the left. Okay, car that's squirrely and he's gone.
And
Very lucky there to not get damaged. That was...
Well, that could be rear wing damage there, because I don't know whether as he lost the rear there, I'm not sure if he's slammed the right-hand side wall, and he definitely tapped it at the end of that spin, and that could be very costly for Forzan here.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He could have got rear car damage, something on the rear of that Alpha Tower. He could be damaged from that impact on the wall. As you said, he did hit it actually quite wrongly. And luckily for one of the other drivers, couldn't quite see who it was. The ghosting was on, so unlucky there for Forzan.
Mitwee there just going behind his teammate, actually just improved by 4/10 and went from 8th to 6th place, just behind his teammate there of Troye, who is currently on an outlap as Spider-Man F1 has left the session. Now, are we able to get them back in as the commentators?
I can try and do that, as I'm not the one streaming, so I can do my best to get him back in for you.
Notice as well, Hemi's done 10 laps on these soft tyres. That is an extraordinary amount of laps in a qualifying session. Now, is he using this as some... Oh, that was a huge snap on the exit there. How he kept that out of the wall is absolutely beyond me. That was an incredible save. As Troye has to take... No, so that was Dimitri having to take some evasive action there to get out of the way of Hemi. But Troye coming through the Wall of Champions now to start his lap here, currently in P5. He's got a 1:10.5 on the grid. Oh, sorry, on the board. Sorry, not on the grid, on the board. And he goes up through turn 1 into turn 2. Now we're going to see exactly what he can do. Can he get himself up into the top 3, into the 109s and challenging Cameron and Forza?
Mitwee as well, Troye's teammate, is also just in that back straight, just warming those tyres up and getting ready for a last flying lap, I believe. But I will keep an eye on Troye, as you've said, going through that sector 2 now, DRS section. It's gone past one of the Aston Martins there, but I knew they were an in-lap or an out-lap. I can't quite see the boards right now, but Troye again.
Losing, that's the same place as Forzan lost the rear there for himself just then, as Dimitri, Mitwee, is it? Mitwee?
They said Mitwee, I'd say, is probably the best thing to do.
Mitwee.
Yeah.
Mitwee on a lap, but he's actually got a car right ahead of him now. Is this actually going to hinder his... Never mind. We are round as Troye now warming up those tyres. Who else have we got? We have a little butchers at Equazer, who is on his lap at the moment, going through sector 2 now in the split. He is 100th up on his time at the moment.
Equazer was here last season. I believe he's been there for a few seasons as well. That's some very good results. He has looked pretty strong this year, actually, I must say. He's been looking really, really good. And still underneath his time by 10,000th of a second, just under that time. Currently sat in 11th. I'm sure he'd be hoping to try and move up the board. Certainly, he only really needs to improve by about 70th of a second if he wants to get inside that top 10 and jump ahead of the Mercedes and King David, who's on an outlap at the moment. Quasar coming down the last long back straight of this Montreal end of the circuit. No ERS left at all, and he is actually coming in the pits.
Yeah, so here, on board with his teammate actually of Total Carney, as Cameron goes on 109.6, so he's improving even more on that already very, very spectacular provisional pole position lap that he's done. But here comes Total Carney, currently in P12, but he is up on his time by quite some time.
Yes, indeed. Total Carney will say again once more, coming down this long back straight. ERS on, using that ERS as well, and he has got a car in front of him, but it's not going to hinder him as a couple of the pits. But Total Carney going around that last chicane quite nicely, not hitting that Wall of Champions. When he comes across the line, and will he improve his time? He does, and he moves up into 8th with an improvement of 0.4.
He actually lost quite a bit of time there in that middle sector. He was up by quite a lot more than that. However, Forzan, P2 for him, he is not going to be able to take that pole position. Alex has made the 109.9s. He retires from the from qualifying, and that is your pole position sitter on board here with the Red Bull driver, and he takes pole position with a time of a 109.630 here this evening around Canada, and into the pits he goes.
Yep. Our qualifying finished. What a qualifying, I'd say. That was incredible.
Is King David, though, going to steal the show? He is coming through the Wall of Champions right now.
Yes.
111.0 is his current time. I don't think it's good enough for pole position. It's not good enough for pole position. He does improve, though, by a tenth and a half, and he takes P11 in the end there, guys.
That is now qualifying done. That's all the drivers finished with Drunk Pirates. Parker is qualifying to the pits, and I believe we will see the finals for qualifying in the grid for today.
Absolutely. So we'll run through the grid very, very soon. What was I saying? Yeah, we're going to get to run through the qualifying grid in a second, guys, as we just finish up here. So as you can see, guys, Cameron takes that pole position there, almost 2.5 tenths ahead of Forzan in second place. QC Alex there in third place, and you've got Optic in fourth place. CPI Troye in fifth with Mitwee in sixth. Hemi seventh with Total Carney in eighth. Smack Rare in P9 there with Basil in 10th. King David just missing out on the top 10 there in P11. Larson in 12th. Whale in 13th with Equator in 14th position. Drunk Pirate down there in 15th with Tin Toretto down in 16th. Bingram in 17th place with Spider-Man bringing up the rear there in P18. So guys, we've got a very, very interesting race to come. I mean, the top 10 split by just 1.2 seconds, and the top 4 split by not very much at all. I think we are definitely gonna have a very interesting race on our hands this evening, chappers.
We certainly are, as we just have the waiting screen now before we head to the grid at Canada for this round 4 race of the Tier 1.
So as
and
it stands,
it looks like it's
dry.
A wet track.
Oh, really?
Or to me, it looks very wet, but I think it's just extremely cloudy.
It does look very cloudy, and I'm hoping it's not going to be wet. I mean, wet would bring in some very interesting racing, guys. I'm not going to lie. But do we really want a safety car fest here in Tier 1? I don't think we do. I think we want a dry race. I think we want to see these Tier 1 boys going wheel to wheel, full throttle around the track, and really showing everyone what they can do.
Sure, as the starting screen is just looking down now for the final 10 seconds before we get straight underway, as we still have no formation lap with the formation glitch that's currently happening on the game, so we'll be jumping straight into this race this evening, I believe. So there's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and it is lights out and away we go for round 4 at Canada. And it looks like Cameron has got an exceptional start. But Forzan going off the grass and on the outside, but keeps that P2 position. And it seems like we all have gotten away quite cleanly, actually, which is nice to see. So Cameron already pulling away, really. And I think Forzan is as well from the pack. And kind of replicating what they were like in qualifying compared to the rest of the field. But good start to this race.
I mean, to be honest, I'll be honest. I mean, the start from the front of the grid looked fantastic. The start from the back of the grid, from about 14th down, were incredibly slow. We've already got a virtual safety car because Dimitри's actually facing the wrong way, and he's lost his entire front wing. So that is going to be a virtual safety car for the debris. What the marshals run out, get rid of the debris that's on the track, and we should be going back to green pretty soon, guys.
Yeah, I think that the green flag will be waved once that debris has been cleared, and also when Mitwee also does come into the pits, because of course his car's not being exceptionally slow at the moment compared to the other drivers, because when that front wing goes, it's extremely difficult to manage to drive that Formula 1 car.
Absolutely.
It's actually like, yeah, it's kind of helping him actually, because it's obviously they've had to slow down, and he's been able to kind of just power into that pit lane, so he's not lost as much time. And as I say, that he gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's not going to help his cause in this race.
Not at all. And something that I'm exceptionally pleased about is the fact that the game has now finally been fixed, where the no front wing actually has a significant effect on the downforce of the car. Had this have been the game like 2 or 3 weeks ago, Mitwee would have been fine to continue on racing, as we do go back to green here, because it literally would have had no effect on him, and he'd have been right on the rear of these guys, and you know, he'd have been able to continue on racing, which is completely mind-blowing, really, when you think of just how much, how effective a front wing is. Sorry, obviously the front wheel is very effective, but Bingram actually spins at the chicane. I'm not sure if there was any contact there, but Bingram was round. I think was that Optic? That might have been Optic. I know it was Optic that actually spun at the chicane on the the hairpin. My God, it'd be nice if I actually knew whereabouts on track I was. King David actually going up into 6th place, making a very bold move actually, just into the Wall of Champions, down the inside, and obviously the car, I think it was Hemi, into the pits.
Yeah, Hemi is in the pit, so I believe that is going to be a front wing issue. He's lost that front wing there, but just to point out as well, tyre choices for these drivers on track today. You've got the front 4 currently sat on mediums with Fazal in P5 on the softs, so an interesting choice to start the race on there, with King David on the mediums, with Flyer actually on the hards, with Bingham on the mediums, Farza and Larson on the hards, with Tim Toretto on the medium, and then from 12th all the way back to 16th are on the hards, with Hemi pitting for those mediums and Mitwee pitting for the hards.
Yeah, and whilst you were just running through that tyre, what everyone's tyres are, we're on board with Basil here. He's on the soft tyres, obviously the only driver out there on the soft tyres, and he is closing in on Carney at quite a rate of knots. Now, obviously, from previous experience here, we know the soft tyre isn't really a race tyre. These are going to die very, very quickly in this race, as he does get past. He does get past Carney there into the Wall of Champions, as Spider-Man is now back in his car. Drunk Pirate actually changing positions there with Equazer, and Equazer up into 13th place, getting past the Ferrari driver there into the chicane.
Yep, and the front guys, the front two have actually seemed to have already pulled a 2.6 second gap. You see Alex in third, who was got a 3 second gap, quite a gap to Azal in fourth as well. So those front 3 guys are pretty much pulled away from the rest of the field at this moment in time in this race.
Yeah, there is actually quite some gaps. I mean, you know, the fact that, as you've just said there, Cameron and Forsen just seem to be kind of in a world of their own at the moment, don't they? I mean, QC Alex wasn't that far off of them in qualifying, and yet he's actually, as you said, 3 seconds down the road. We've had Optic and Larson changing positions there for 10th and 11th place, with Optic going up into P10. But we've got King David against Total Carney here down the DRS straight. DRS is now enabled, as Carney does tuck in behind King David just before the chicane, and David through up into P5.
That's a nice move there from King David, taking advantage of that DRS, which looks pretty powerful at the moment as well. But I do also think that saving that battery will be quite important here, but it is important in general. But if you don't have as much speed in that back straight, it can be it's quite vulnerable if you've got a car behind you that's got DRS and you possibly won't have it. So I'd say probably saving battery will probably be on some of these drivers' minds. And the front 2 are currently on 38% for Cameron and 22% for Forzan, and it seems to be a similar situation throughout the whole field at the moment, but some drivers are not really using it at all, which is interesting to see. So they might take advantage of that when other drivers want to slightly decrease.
Yeah, absolutely. And interestingly, you were just talking about the ERS there. On board with Troye, he's got 14%. He's been using a lot of his battery throughout this race already, and we're only on lap 6. The same with Bingram's at 30%. But someone like Carney on 40%, and then we're looking at King David that's only got 8% of his battery left.
Wow.
I mean, you look at the top guys. I mean, even Cameron, 32%. So they've all been using it. Forsen's using it right now. The driver in the best position, battery-wise, at the moment is actually Alex, and he's got around 50% of his battery left.
pretty impressive, and also Farza has got 76, so Farza not using that battery, so that's interesting to see. But enough of that, we've had the front two guys putting a further gap, but just to point out, Cameron's lost a lot of time to Forzan. He's now 3.7 seconds behind Forzan.
Yeah, now has he had a moment? He's got no damage, but as you've just said, he's had a moment because Alex is literally within DRS of him now, so he's definitely had a wobble somewhere.
It's so easy to do as well. This track seems to be quite slippy in my opinion. So probably a common mistake there from Cameron if it is what we have said, that he's potentially had a massive moment in a safer car, but it's cost him a lot of time to Forzan, who's now far ahead of Cameron, and you see Alex.
And to be fair, just talking of moments, Mitwee having a huge moment in the end of Sector 2 there, I think pretty much in the same place as where we saw a couple of the drivers spin it and lose their rear in qualifying there as well. Now, Bingram, just on the start of this lap, actually took an incredible move on Total Carney, wheel to wheel through the chicane. Total Carney literally had no option but to back out. And I'm not saying it was Bingham forcing his way through. It was literally they were both wheel to wheel. One of them had to yield, and Carney chose to be the bigger person, let's say, and risk saving both of their races, and backed out and going to live to fight another lap.
Exactly, and there's still a long way to go in this race. We're only on lap 7 of 35, and anything can happen in this race as well. So Carney did the right thing, just giving each other room and making sure that both of them can stay on the track. Because we hate to see two drivers crash out on an incident.
Basil into the pits as well, so those soft tyres already having a bit of enough of the race. He's gone onto the hard tyres as he's going to come out down in 16th place at the moment. However, a safety car early on, and those that are on the hard tyres are going to have such an advantage over those on the mediums. The hard tyre being more of a race tyre in this game, I believe. I've said this many times. If you guys are tuning in and you've heard me do comments before, you know I'm a big old fan of these hard tyres here, F122. We've had a moment, and that is not Spider-Man. Is that a Quasar? No, it's not a Quasar either. What is that? Who is that? Was that Carney?
I'm unsure.
No, it's not. It's a Williams, and it's QC Alex. Actually, he's had a huge moment actually. And if you look behind him, King David, Bingram, Total Carney, CPI Troye, all really putting some pressure on him now, as there goes King David just before the chicane, down around the outside, and that is QC down into 4th place now. I think, again, where we've seen drivers losing in qualifying already, I think that's where QC Alex has had an issue, and it must have been a very big tank slap, because he's lost 6 seconds to Cameron, and he's allowed the cars behind him to really close up now, and he's going to be under a lot of pressure following that mistake now.
Yeah, definitely. And also to point out, Cameron has managed to pull that gap for 2.4 seconds to Forza, and he has closed in by just over a second actually, since he had that bit of a moment a few laps prior. So Cameron putting in the work and is closing back in on the AlphaTauri of Forza.
And that guys just shows the pace of Cameron this season. I mean, Forzan has looked quite in a controlled position here within this race. But Cameron, as Champers has just said, was around 3.5 seconds back a minute ago. But here goes QC Alex fighting with Bingham, and QC Alex is round at the exit of the hairpin, and I don't believe there was contact there, but he has just got onto the grass, traction down far too early, far too quickly, and he has dropped it, and he's just been disqualified for trying to turn the car around, and that is a huge disaster for Alex.
Yeah, he did seem to be stationary facing in the direction for quite some time. Unfortunate for Alex, the game has just disqualified him, and I think he's going to be spitting feathers in the Williams car right now, because that's the last thing you want to happen to yourself, is to get disqualified after a spin.
Absolutely. I actually think the steward went running out there, the marshal went running out there. I think they thought the car was on fire, but it was actually just the smoke coming out of his helmet.
Yeah, that would probably explain what that situation was there, but
Bingram
fortunate
all
for
over
Alex
King
there to be
David
at
here.
pace.
And sorry to interrupt you there, but Bingram is all over the gearbox of King David. DRS down the big straight in a minute. I can see another move coming very soon into the chicane, if not even before the chicane, because the DRS is super powerful here at Canada.
It looked like he was right on the rear of King David there, and it seemed like he just couldn't get the power down as good, but DRS is kicking in now, and Bingram is looking to the outside actually of Mercedes the King David, and he brakes a little bit later.
That
Gets
was
moved on.
very,
There was a
very
chicane.
good move. Wow. That showed some real trust in King David there to go around the outside. It just showed pure trust in his opposition's driving skill there to keep that wheel straight and not force him at all off the track towards the pit lane, towards the wall, because down that pit straight on the left hand side you've got that very small part of the wall that does just stick out. If you get too close to that, you can be really caught out by surprise. Not that it's ever happened to me, of course. Cough, cough.
Yep, it's a lot of incidents that have happened over the years there, especially in the games, well, and for league racing in general, but as you said, a lot of trust there between the two drivers, and it's great to see that you can have that close pull to world racing and not have any contact as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're on board with Tintoretto at the minute. He is closing in on a Quasar, who has got Larson just for company up ahead of him, and Larson's actually very close to Smackmare for P8. We've got a four-car battle as Tintoretto goes incredibly deep into the hairpin. Manages to get the power down a lot easier than you probably would if you went a little bit tighter there. But we have got Larson going for the move, looking for the move, not going for the move, looking at the move on Smackmare into the chicane, but on this occasion not able to make it.
Definitely, and it's becoming a bit of a DRS train at the moment here. Oh, hello, that was a
some contact,
huge,
wasn't it?
that was a massive moment. That was between Farzan and Larson. It just seemed like a late braking move, and that just spun them out. And I do feel that the stewards will be noting that incident down there, and that will definitely be reviewed after the race.
And Lassie's out. Larson's. I thought, how is he not out? How did he save that just then? That was a huge snap, and I don't know how he's not in the wall, and I don't know how. It's completely beyond me how he's not out of the race. Interestingly, though, going back to that moment at turn one, the Ferrari of Drunk Pirate actually almost made contact with I don't know who else it was, but the car ghosted and then unghosted, and you actually saw the front wing clip the tyre and shunt the car over. Now I'm not sure if that's just a visual glitch or whether that genuinely didn't ghost or ghosted and then unghosted, which could have been race ending for quite a few drivers just then.
Yeah, that's the trouble with the ghosting as well, but it's better than not kind of having it in my opinion. But we've got a bit of a DRS train now from 11th with Spider-Man leading that group, but I'm actually saying that Drunk Pirates just got out of the DRS range of Hemi in 13th, so Hemi will need to close in that gap because he will become vulnerable to Farther in the AlphaTauri. But Larson's retired.
Yeah, Larson retiring in the pits, and you just said about Drunk Pirate losing the DRS to Hemi. Hemi, I don't know what's happened to Hemi, but Hemi's now 3/10 right behind Drunk Pirate, so he has closed in. That is a save. That was a phenomenal save just then.
Just watched it back now, it was incredible.
Woo. As Tintoretto on the back of the Quasar here for 8th and 9th, as CPI Troye up in 6th place at the moment, closing in on Carney, and Carney just getting in within that DRS range of King David up there in 4th place. Lap 14 of 35, and so far we've only seen a virtual safety car. We have lost Larson and Alex being disqualified from the session for driving the wrong way, but Drunk Pirate and Spider-Man, oh my good grief, that was almost a collision there into the chicane, and what that's done now is that's allowed Hemi past and Hemi up to 12th place. Drunk Pirate had to evade Spider-Man there in the chicane, otherwise there was going to be a collision there and another crash.
Indeed, and just also want to point out once more, Cameron has now pulled the gap even closer to Forza, and he is 1.2 seconds behind the AlphaTauri driver that's currently leading this race.
Absolutely.
On that 14 of 35.
And I'll be honest, I'm actually glad that you are watching that battle at the front, because there's been so much going on in the midfield as Tintoretto's actually round. I've been so engrossed in the midfield, I hadn't even noticed the gap at the top coming down, because there's just been so much going on. It's been very, very entertaining in the midfield.
It's been, as you said, very entertaining, very close racing, and some incidences, but you know, it happens in racing. We don't like seeing it, but it's hard racing. But a couple of instances in that middle field that the stewards will be looking at after this race. But I just looked up and I saw that Cameron had closed that gap in, but he just hasn't seemed to have pulled it in this last lap and a half. But I do feel that those medium tyre runners are going to start potentially questioning about hitting 4 hards. So Cameron had a bit of a moment there in that middle sector. Lost the rear slightly, but he just about caught it. So a nice save there. He didn't lose a lot of time actually. So very lucky there for Cameron.
And then amongst that as well, Hemi did get past Spider-Man and up into P10. Troy, just touching on what you've just said regarding the medium runners, Troye closing the gap on said medium runners, and in fact he is actually going to be very, very much all over the back of Total Carney, and he's on the hard tyres. So as you've said, the mediums do look like they're starting to suffer now, and the hards are now starting to come into their own, as Cameron does in fact enter the pit lane for a change of tyres, and onto the hards he does go. And I don't feel like Troye is pushing his hardest in a move here down the DRS straight. So I feel like he's been a little bit, now he's going for it. He's gone for it this time, which is interesting because he's gone for it on the second part of the DRS, but a shorter straight and a much harder place to make an overtake.
Bit of a moment there when Cameron came out the pits and just got caught in that pack.
And Carney, actually, I think Carney was very, very wary of that then, because Carney actually lit the rears up and started snaking, and on board with Troye. That was quite scary.
It was indeed, but I feel Cameron might be quite vulnerable in this group at the moment with, in these corners, because those mediums will not be heated up, and the others ones the medium runners' tyres will be fine, but he seems to have held his own quite well actually.
Oh, as he makes a huge mistake actually,
no.
And in fact, that's actually come from Cameron making a huge mistake there. He went incredibly deep into the hairpin, and in fact, Carney's actually got caught up in all of this, and I think there was a bit of an illegal overtake from Optic there, and oh my goodness gracious me.
That pit lane is so dangerous, in my opinion. It really is a dangerous one, because you'll get a driver that will come into the pits, and if you're right behind them, you probably won't anticipate them coming into that pit lane, so you could easily hit the back of them and hit your wing off or potentially retire that car from a severe collision.
I mean, that was not comfortable being on board with Carney just then. I mean, I don't know what Optic must have been thinking just then, and what when he saw that car just literally flying across the front of his front wing as Carney went into the pits there. I mean, obviously Cameron making the mistake which cost him a few places, and then obviously got caught up with Carney. Carney probably a little bit irritated by that, I think is probably the best way to put it, and probably wanted to get into the pits just to compose himself a little bit and maybe take a drink of water or something.
Yeah, but I just went out Forza and actually pitted on that lap, and he got out ahead of the rest of the field, and King David's on the old medium, he's 0.6 behind him, so Forza a little bit vulnerable at the moment, but I do feel that Forza now being on this hard time, I'm pretty sure they'll be up contention now. We will be able to do what he's been doing all racing, pull the hammer down and try and pull away from the rest of the field, given that Cameron's had that bit of that moment there on that back straight.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're on Spider-Man F1 at the moment, 17 lap old hard tyres with a pretty solid move there on Whale there in ninth place. Both 17 lap old hards, and it's a very nice little switchback move. As Whale goes round, I'm not sure what's happened there. I think he's just gone down the traction a little bit too quick, and he's lit the rears up, and those 17 lap old hards just didn't like that.
Yep, and just point out a few drivers have got penalties at this current moment in time, and that is Forza and King David on 3 seconds, with Spider-Man and Farza also on 3 seconds, with both of the McLarens of Gazelle and Wally on 3 seconds, with Interetto on 6 and Mitri on 5 for a pit lane speeding infringement. That is your penalty so far this race.
Roye King David into the pits. Into the pits he goes for his pit stop, and that is him onto the hard tyres as well. So we've got an entire grid on the hard tyres now, excuse me. As Whale is in 13th place, very close to Carney at the moment. But what this is going to do, this is going to actually, as we've had a spinner, I think that is Whale, yes it is. He's kept it out of the wall at the Hall of Champions, thankfully. But he's had a spin at the chicane. What that does now mean is the likes of Troy, Optic, Equazer, Spider-Man, Smartrare, Pirate, and Whale here. Possibly even Mitwi. I mean, Mitwi on the hard tyres from quite early on. That could be a virtual safety car as Whale does drive into the wall. What that means, obviously, is later on they are going to be able to probably put a medium set of tyres on, obviously, and maybe even stretch it out a little bit more, hoping for a safety car. So they could go medium if there's another safety car. Everyone's going to chuck the soft tyres on, or do they choose to stick on the mediums because the mediums being that much better race tyre than the softs?
Braden, I do feel though that those starting on the hard tyre runners, like Troye for example, and Optic, Quasar, for example, will be questioning now about a potential pit stop. But could they potentially branch out those hard tyres and jump onto a set of softs at the end?
I mean, as I've said, the hards are incredible. And I feel like, I mean, what have we seen? We've seen a set of softs only last 8 laps. So we're talking that these have got to go to 28, 27, 28?
Yeah.
I think it's possibly doable. Well retiring from the session there in the pit lane. I mean, it is possible. I can't imagine they're going to be the most comfortable tyres towards the end of the strategy, especially through the chicane. Bingham and Equator changing positions though into the hairpin. I can't imagine they're going to be very comfortable towards the end. And do they actually risk that, or do they think, you know what, we'll be a bit more sensible here? We'll go for the mediums for some comfort, let's say, towards the end of this, as that is Cameron getting past Troye up into 2nd place, and Cameron is now 4.2 behind. So being caught in traffic has definitely hurt his race at the moment.
Certainly, and we've just seen Optic and Quasar both hit onto those medium tyres with Farza coming into the pits for those medium tyres. So as I said, we're going to start seeing those hard runners question or do so and box for those medium tyres, and I think they're all taking a safe gamble here and
yeah, absolutely. And this is probably what I would have done, to be honest. I probably wouldn't want to be risking the hards as good as they are for another 7 laps. It's going to be interesting to see what Troye does. He's just been passed, obviously, by Cameron. These hards are starting to say, do you know what? I'm starting to get a little bit sore here. Can you get these off of me, please? As Equator, Hemi, and Optic actually all coming together. Now, I don't believe Hemi was very happy with Equator there. Lots of wiggles going on. Whether there's been a bit of a contact, a little bit of moment, or whether there was a bit of an unfair pass, and that's just a thank you. But definitely a lot of wiggling going on there. They are on brand new medium tyres, but I'm not sure if that was a warm-up or whether that was, one of the previously stated things. But CPI Troye interestingly stays out.
He does. Wow.
So
He
does
is pushing
Spider-Man
those
and
hard
so
now.
does Pirate. So that is very interesting. So are they going for the alternate strategy and going to push for the softs? I mean, I think
They
they're
could
brave.
potentially. They could. But also to point out with that little wiggle there from Hemi, there was a bit of contact in the previous corner actually, and that Hemi went to the inside line on a Quasar, and there was a little bit of contact, but he did make the move on the outside of the next corner. But
So that
yeah,
would
it was
explain the wiggling then.
yeah, it was. But as you said, Poirier, Spider-Man, and Drunk Pirate longing out those hards, and they could potentially long them out even further and jump on the soft for last into the race.
Absolutely. And Basil here on the back of Drunk Pirate, 14 old, so 7 lap newer tyres here on Basil's cars. He goes for the move down the inside into the hairpin. That looked pretty comfortable, didn't it? I mean, Carney's right on the rear of Pirate here as well. Bit of a sitting duck down the straight here, I feel. He's not going to have DRS because he obviously he was behind. Now he's harvesting as well. Now is he going to be going into the pits? No, he's not. Interesting. As Troye continues on as well. Drunk Pirate continues on. Spider-Man's continued on. They are being very bold with their strategies as Carney gets past Drunk Pirate before turn 1 under DRS, and that is Pirate down to P9.
I think those old cards starting to take its toll there on Drunk Pirate. He's lost 2 positions in a very, very short space of time, and he has got Optic on those fresh mediums gunning him down now. He's right on the rear of that Ferrari now, is Optic, so...
Oh my god, there's 3 wide going through here. That was there's yellow flags, and that is for Smatrat. Now he's out. That could be a safety car. That could change the whole complex of this race. Does that safety car come out? It doesn't come out yet. Is it going to be a delayed safety car? Because we've also got Tintoretto round as well.
Oh, he's retired on track. The car's still moving.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. That's a retirement on track. So that wouldn't be a safety car because the car's not actually damaged.
You're not really meant to be retiring on track there, so I do feel that the stewards will be noting that again. So a couple of things that they're going to have to review after this race, but I don't think that's going to bring the safety car, and it's not. It would have come out by now, but that will have frustrated those hard runners for longing it out, because if it did come out, they'd end up getting a free pit stop essentially. So they'd be extremely happy with that, I'd say.
Yeah, they would definitely be happy with that. But here we're on board with Optic. He's currently in 10th place. Now remember, I think he started in 4th place. He's on the medium tyres. Now he has a huge tyre advantage over the rest of these guys, and it's showing. He has got some significant traction. Oh, Hemi's moved. Hemi's just moved over to effectively, well, I mean, that looks almost like he went for the move on Carney, but at the same time, blocking off Optic there from making his move. So Optic probably thinking, what are you doing there? I'm sure that's exactly the words that were coming out of his mouth at that point. Oh my God, what do you think you're doing? As Hemi's now got a much better run on Total Carney, and Optic quite some distance back, so that's actually really, really damaged Optic's attempts of an overtake.
Yeah, that's very frustrating for Optic, I'd say.
Sorry,
yeah.
Carry on.
That's as you say, that traction difference is insane. There's fresh mediums on Optic's Aston Martin, showing the true extent of how tyre age can take effect in a race.
As he picks up a 3-second time in, Pirate's had a moment. He's down in 12th place now.
He is, wow. He has had a moment. Well, with 10 laps left, I do feel that these hard runners are going to box for those softs, the ones that long get out. I really do. Smithley's actually coming to the pits in 22 lap old hards, and he is actually boxing for softs. He's just served that 5-second time penalty as well. So,
and there's contact as he's just retired from the session as well. And Optic actually clipping the rear of Hemi on the exit there, and he's not happy either.
There's a lot of tension between the two drivers in this race today, definitely.
Oh, yeah, Optic is really not happy, is he?
No, I'd say he's not amused at the moment, that's for sure.
I mean, the fact that obviously a few moments ago as well, these two drivers sort of had a little bit of a moment. He's probably still thinking that he's deliberately blocked him off there from making the move. I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a case of Hemi was trying to get the move made as well, and potentially just didn't look in his mirrors.
Yeah, and also just to point out, Cameron in P2 has just gotten a 3-second time penalty, and that is his first penalty of the race, and as well, Forzan had that 3 seconds, and Cameron was 3.8 behind him and closing quickly. So if Cameron didn't get that penalty, I do feel he would have got within that 3-second range and could have potentially taken the win from Forzan. But he needs to make up a lot of ground now if he wants to win this race today.
I tell you what, I am just in awe of some of this racing. Honestly, Optic's car control, and it is something special. There is a lot of, I mean, there's contact again there, but his car control and how he can run so close together on the rear wing of another car is, it's something, I tell you.
And it goes for all the drivers in here, I do feel, and they just show that they are extremely talented in this game, and they're putting on a great race for us today, that is for sure.
They definitely are. They are literally like a cut above, like what I am
Forzan
used to.
Span. Sorry to cut you off there, but Forzan Span.
He has. Oh, that is a big spin. He's down into 4th place now, is he? What's happened?
I have no idea what has gone on there.
He's going to get disqualified.
He is going to get disqualified if he doesn't move. Something's gone on there. He's off again.
Has he had an issue with his wheel? I assume that he's a wheel user. Did he have an issue with his wheel?
Potentially. That's very strange what's just happened there, and that has virtually given Cameron this win, barring anything that happens in this race by a late safety car or a spin. Yeah, exactly. So Cameron will be singing the praises there and thanking the Lord for that there, but also praying that no safety car happens right now. And
yeah, he's done a 10-second corner cut there as well. I don't know what's going on here. What's happened here? He's had a serious issue.
Yeah.
I don't know actually. I don't want to say what's going on here at the moment. I think I know what's going on here at the moment, but I'm not going to say it. Carney in 10th place on the back of Equator now. This is the Alpine 9-10 at the moment, so double points positions for Alpine. Optic now starting to close in on Spider-Man on 27 lap on hard tyres. CPI Troye still hasn't boxed either. And just keep an eye on Forzan to see if it's his wheel playing up for me. As we're going to ride on board here with Optic and Spider-Man as we are going for the fight for P5. We're also going to keep an eye on Equator and Basil here, the other driver on the medium tyres for 9th and 8th position as well. But at the moment, Optic with DRS. Spider-Man just that little bit too far ahead for him to make any sort of move. Equator, however, going down the inside of Basil into the chicane, and that is Equator up to P8, but picking up a 3-second time penalty in doing so, as he's literally just cut the entry of the chicane a little bit too much there. Spider-Man now under some serious pressure from Optic, as Optic does get the move made, as Hemi's had a bit of a moment behind there, almost forcing Optic into a spin, backed off, and has dropped quite a bit behind now.
Yeah, Forzan's just come into the pit onto the softs. Very strange what's happened to Forzan these last few couple of laps. Sure, we're going to find out exactly what has happened there. He's released quite late as well from the pit. So I've got no idea what's going on Forzan's end, but that's unfortunate for him. But Troye, I believe he's still staying out. Troye.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy that Troye is staying out, and Spider-Man. We're going to see what he does then, because he's coming under some pressure from Hemi, and I think Forzan's had another issue.
Yeah, he has. He's probably spun out of the pit lane or something. He's getting laps now as well. I believe that is Troy and Bingran just overtaking him. So very, very odd. And it seems like he can't turn that car, so he could potentially have wing damage as well. I'm
Crazy
sure.
how a race can change, eh?
Yeah, but it just proves anything can happen in racing. Anything can happen.
No wing damage on the front of that Alpha Tauri either. So I'm
Wow,
wondering if he's got a wheel problem,
he could have.
because it doesn't look as comfortable as it did a few laps ago. That's for sure. Hemi and Spider-Man though, going through turns. What we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 into turn 10 under DRS, and that is Hemi up into 6th place, and now his pursuit of Optic is on once again. Tintoretto 3-second time penalty. Troye, hang on a minute. Troye's into the pits now.
Yeah.
Hatch Troye what? No, we hadn't. Nor
No,
Spider-Man.
he's not.
Spider-Man should be into the pits this lap as well. Forzan has retired from the session in the pits, so that obviously won't be a safety car either. And I've got to hand it to these guys, as Spider-Man does box. I've got to hand it to these guys. Only a virtual safety car this evening.
Yeah. A lot of retirements in the pits, though, I will say that. But I wonder if Drop Pirate's going to come into the pits. He does. His hard tyre run is only out to 29 laps, and you've got to hand it to them, like 29 laps around this circuit in Montreal for a 35-lap race, going to 29 laps on one set of tyres is certainly a challenge. But they've done an exceptional job, and they've done what I've said. They've long lapped those hards out and gone onto those soft tyres for the last into this race.
Yeah, it's interesting how you that just shows, doesn't it, just how good the hard tyres are.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'd be interested to see it somewhere like Silverstone, what they're like, because obviously Silverstone last week, there was a lot of punctures on the soft tyres. They just weren't capable of going the distance. Now, I don't know if that's just a soft tyre in general, or if that is how the track is making the tyres, or whether the hards really are that good.
Yeah, and I don't know whether there was any punctures in the Tier 1 race, but I know that in the other tiers there was a couple of punctures for sure. But I'm unsure whether the punctures happened in the Tier 1 race. But at Silverstone, those soft tyres got to about lap 10, and then a lot of drivers just got punctures. But I don't think that these tyres are going to get punctured in 5 laps Canada.
Absolutely not, no. So we're on lap 32 of 35. Troye, still the only driver without a penalty out there, on a brand new set of softs in the top 5, should I say. He's on the softs. Tintoretto into the pits this lap. He's only just put those, no, he's just gone to a set of softs. Can we see Troye in the top 2? Or is he? I don't think we can. I think podium for definite.
Potentially, but I will say also Total Carney's not got a penalty. It's Troy and Total Carney, the only drivers on track at the moment. That's still going around.
Which is
They've not got a penalty. Yes, for sure. Especially here, as I said, it's so easy to exceed limits here and get a warning for track limits. I'd say at probably about 7 or 8 corners, it's extremely easy to, and I think even in that last couple of corners you can get a warning in both if you're not careful. So that just kind of proves how challenging this track really is for track limits, so you've got to keep it smooth and be on it the whole race.
Absolutely, as you said there, out those last couple of corners, you can get a penalty as you enter the chicane on the right hand side. On the left hand side, if you run over that too much, you can get a penalty there. But you can also get a penalty if you run too close to the exit curve of the World Champion on the right hand side as well.
You can indeed, but Cameron now is just crossing the line to start the penultimate lap of this race. Lap 34, he's 17 seconds ahead of Bingram, and Bingram is 13 seconds ahead of King David, so this top 3 certainly spread out, shall we say.
Absolutely, yeah, and Total Carney actually just going very deep into the hairpin there. And worth noting as well, actually, Basil here on 25 lap old hard tyres still able to keep pace with Carney on the 16 lap on cards.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Bazal still showing pace on those very, very old hards, but
talking of Troye, here comes Troye. He is going to have DRS in the next section, and he's going to put a challenge into King David. Whether or not he does it or not, or if he just stays behind and waits for the long straight, which in my opinion is a little bit more, but do you know what? He's just got such an advantage. It would have been so silly for him. And has David had an issue? David's run out of fuel.
Wow. He has. I think David's underfueled, anticipating a safety car.
Yeah, he has.
Not
and it's just come to bite him. He's run out of fuel.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone could have been very dangerous if that car hadn't ghosted, because that car just stopped. And
it did.
Troye came at him at such a rate of knots. Now, David's going to have to box. I think David's going to retire from the session here.
He's probably got to, because he's not going to score points because he's in 9th already and he's not even across the line yet to start the last lap, and he's actually staying out.
That's bold. But we are on board here with your race leader, ladies and gentlemen, FRT_Cameron, as he comes around the hairpin for the final time this evening here in the Canadian Grand Prix, as King David has just left the session. And here comes Cameron down towards the chicane for the final time. We just got to brave this for one last time, and he does. He nails it, and he's just run out of fuel.
I don't know what he's doing. He's chilling. Oh my god! I think he's tried showboating.
He just reset the track.
He's tried showboating.
He just reset the track,
and it's not worked out in his favour.
He has won, but he just reset the track.
He did. I think he tried slowing down and almost like a little showboat, and it just did not go to plan.
It came back to bite him. Bingo takes second place as CPI Troye comes home to take the final podium position. Now, will Cameron be under investigation for that?
He will, I believe. He did reset the track, which you're not allowed to do, but I mean, he's just skidded across the finishing line to take P5. With a Quasar just coming through. Quasar's run out of fuel as well. He crosses the line in P7.
Basil takes 8th place. Spider-Man is going to come home to take P9 here. King David obviously no longer in the session. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is your Canadian Grand Prix over with for this evening here in Tier 1. Your man Chappers is going to take you through the final positions here this evening. So over to you, Chappers.
Thank you very much. So, your race results for this Grand Prix today, as I wait for it to load up. For me, you have your race winner, Cameron, with a very, very strange ending there to that race. With Bingram in P2, with Troye running off the podium, with Optica P4, Penny P5, Harney P6, Quasar P7 coming from P14 on the grid, with Bazal 8th, Spider-Man in 9th, King David 10th, Drunk Pirate 11th, Interrupted 12th, CPO Forzan 13th, 14th with Mitri, 15th Farza, 16th Wally, 17th Larson, and riding off the grid is QC Alex for your ending results of this Canadian Grand Prix.
Absolutely. So we are just running through the podium as the Chappers are going through the final grid there. So, worth pointing out as well that I don't know if Cameron's changed his flag just for this race, but is that a home win for Cameron?
I'm unsure, but I just want to actually point out Bingram in P2 came from 17th on the grid.
That is a phenomenal drive there for Bingram, and this is obviously just your confirmation here, guys, of obviously what Chappers has just read through. So overall, a pretty exciting race. Plenty of action going on through the midfield there, and to be honest, I didn't really know where to look. There was so much going on, some incredible racing as well, guys. So yeah, it was an absolute honour to do Tier 1 this evening, to actually show myself just how good this league is, how good this tier is as well. I mean, I do the other tiers, but these are definitely like, some of the top drivers of the game, and very good race indeed.
wasn't leading. Are we getting some of the drivers in for a podium interview, or are we not doing that?
I don't know. I've not
We
been
we
instructed
could get
of
them in. We
anything.
could see if we could get them in.
We
See
can
what
try
they
and
have
get
to
them in.
say. We could potentially. Oh, they may not join, but we could. We said we could do an interview chat, and I will see if the drivers will join it.
Don't know if they're going to.
They probably won't. We don't have many to do it, so we may give that one a miss and see if it happens next week, as we're kind of
Absolutely.
pulled in last minute for today's race. So I'm unsure whether we would do so.
Yeah.
But great race, to be fair. It was
Absolutely
phenomenal.
fantastic race, yeah, it was. And obviously having a decent co-coms again also really helps. And you know, always a pleasure to do comms with chappers in the commentary box here. So thank you for jumping in last minute here to help out, of course, as it was, as Chapper said, very last minute. But guys, these guys did not disappoint. I hope you guys did enjoy it at home. We certainly enjoyed it from the comfort of our homes here. And we're going to be live again here on the Prospects eRacing League Twitch channel tomorrow night for Tier 2, when I believe it's going to be myself and Feldman as we take Tier 2 around Canada. But yeah, if you want to come and watch that, do tune in from around about 10 to 10 tomorrow night, UK time. But for now, guys, we are going to wrap it up there. It's been a pleasure with Chappers once again. And yeah, we're going to catch you on the next one, guys. But for now, I've been Zippo. I'm going to say good evening.
I've been Chappers, and I'm going to say good evening also. And thank you guys so much for watching this Tier 4 race, Tier 1 Round 4 race at Canada.
Thanks very much for watching, guys. Good night.